Okay, sorry guys. I've been trying to get here, and it's just been a difficult day. So anyway, how you doing? Happy Thursday, FTG Thursday on the Morning Night Live. And today is just going to be stuff that people are talking about randomly because I don't have actual articles ready to go. Had a really rough morning, so poof, here I am. But that's it. I'm not even going to say anymore. Johnny, play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
You got it, one and only late one. Stop it, music. All right. Good morning and cheers. It's the Morning Night Live with your host, me, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel, or welcome to the P-Dog Knight channel. If you're here for the first time, you're here for the second time, second time I'd be welcome back. If you're here the first time, I'd be surprised because, hey, nobody sends my stuff out anyway. But except for some of you do, so I appreciate that. Anyway, hope you're having a good morning on this Thursday. Mine wasn't so good. That's why I'm this late. But the bonus plan is I'm thinking about streaming this afternoon during the Trump arraignment coverage and maybe just having a bunch of different screens ready, seeing what which different knuckleheads are talking about what, when, and how. A whole lot of talk about this, though, and it's fascinating. I've been watching a lot of pundits, like when I follow a lot of different pundits on Twitter, and it's almost like when you have The Simpsons, as they say the line, and because they're all kind of saying the same thing. Well, we've read the indictment, and it is damning. It is this, that, da, 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 da. Well, let's just let me put that in perspective. When you read an indictment of anybody, the indictment's laying out the case of one side of the case. So if you are going to talk about how, they've done this and they've done that, yada, 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 yada. Well, that's because you're not hearing the defense's argument. It's supposed to be. That's how you write the indictment. You're prosecuting the case. You should be prosecuting the case as fully as you can. And so they're dismissing a whole lot of other stuff about it and whatever. But that's neither here nor there. Today we're going to just, like I said, it's FTG Thursday. We'll go through some of the trends and read what different things are happening, and then we'll be done because it's going to be a short show today. Let's say hi to everybody first, though, like we do. First in chat over on Rumble, Mr. Avocado Diabli, who gets the bell. Also, good morning, Mike Savage, Blard, Cannibalistic Gwistard, what up, and Next Gen Troll. And I imagine there's a few other people watching Rumble. Yeah, it says 11. It always says 11. And sometimes I go, is there really 11 people watching on Rumble? You can't click and see who's watching. But every time it says 11, and whether it's 2, 3, 10, whatever, but it's 11. Who knows? Maybe there are. If you're here, if you're one of the 11 that hasn't already chatted in the chat, just put something in the chat to show that you have it on. Because I know some of you put it on Rumble and YouTube and then just watching YouTube, because the chat on YouTube usually has more stuff in it. But I just wonder, is there really 11 people? And then I go back through when I go to I go back and check my feed later, and then it always says there's I've had 160, 180, people who've watched that episode, and I can go, wow. I mean, how did that happen? It's just wild. 104 from yesterday, 119, the day before. And I just wonder, are there really that many people watching on Rumble? It must be. They at least pop in there for a minute. Because it isn't even when you guys come and watch it, right? If 11 people are watching, it might show, maybe 18 views because sometimes you pop in and you pop out and they count as a view if you pop in and pop out. But I mean, I'm looking at 100 and there's 193 on one, 240 on one. I'm just like, I hope people are really watching it that many times. So anyway, if you happen to be watching this as a replay on Rumble, do me a favor. Put a comment in the comment section so I know that you were there, because I'm trying to figure out where all these people are coming from. So anyway, YouTube, first in the chat is Avocados Diabli, who gets the bell. Also, morning special can acid, Lord Stanhope, fake news expert, Somnambul Nation, who's going to catch a show later. Good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg, Tyrannus, Alexandrius, the Invictus Lich. No music today, sorry. Good morning also to, did I said Lord Stanhope? Yes, I did. And there's Unacceptable Views. Hello. My favorite Canadian, Jaeger Pony, Tripper Liberties in the house. And that's everybody so far. Now people might stroll in and stroll out as we go, but just remember, you're the sponsors of the show. You're the ones who help make it happen. Share the stream either on YouTube or on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you do your social media crap. Do the thing. Do that thing. And then if you want to sponsor the show, pdognight.live is the Streamlabs link. That's the best place to help out the show. If you donate or do a tip there, that's more of that funds goes to the person you're tipping. So there you go. Birthong people, to be exact. I don't know what that means. Is that a misspelling? What's a birthong? I'm not sure. Anyway, let's get into the news because I don't have a whole lot of time today. And basically the news today is things that are happening on Twitter. Obviously today is going to be arraignment day for Donald Trump. Apparently at 4:00 Eastern, he's going to be heading towards whatever that courthouse is in DC. Now I am, I'm really curious about this because this is this particular judge is, we'll get into the judge later, but she's kind of a Trump hating judge, I guess. And has been, this is the judge that has been the toughest on the January 6th defendants. This is the judge that has put, given sentences that are harsher than the government even asked for, that the prosecutors even asked for. She gave him sentences longer. And this is a court where she doesn't allow things that she doesn't allow some things in the trials that probably should be, and make them more appealable, not appealing, but appealable. So it's going to be interesting because if this judge, and now if they don't change the venue, especially, that's going to be a problem. You're supposed to be able to get a jury of your peers, but if you're in a place where 96% of the population voted for someone else, voted against this guy, you aren't diphthong. Oh, I got you. Diphthong greater than birththong. That's funny. How do you think you can get a fair trial in this town? The most notorious trial, probably, certainly in the last 100 years. I mean, there's been other big trials. I wouldn't say it's the most important trial, but everyone in DC knows who Donald Trump is, and they all have their opinions of Donald Trump, and they've been convicting all these Donald Trump supporters just one by one. I mean, they've lost almost maybe one case out of all the ones that for the January 6 people for minor crap. A lot of them for minor crap. And so the idea that he can get a fair trial in DC and this judge is completely an anti-Trump, Obama appointee, immigrant, this is not a person who likes Donald Trump. So this is going to be interesting. You also, the other interesting thing too, and someone said that there's a possibility that some of these charges could carry the death penalty. I don't know what that means. I don't know how that would work, but Lord Stanhope. Good Lord. Good morning, Amazing Disgrace, by the way. proof of animus towards Trump is stooping to vote for Biden. Well, I don't know. I didn't vote for Trump, and I can't stand the man, but if he's innocent, then I'll gladly acknowledge that. Hi, Mike. How you doing? My favorite Lil was in the house. This is not. Here's Mike. I don't think this has to do anything to do whether he's innocent or not. I think there's multiple constitutional issues here, and this has been. It's almost been orchestrated, like this whole idea that January 6th was an insurrection. That is a ridiculous notion. It was not an attempt to overthrow the government of the United States. It was not a coup. Okay. The January 6th demonstration was to hold off the counting of the votes on January 6th and push it back to the states. A supposed constitutional move. Now you can argue whether it was or not, but no one was going in there to take over the government of the United States of America. None of those people walking in with flags and cell phones were going to take over the United States government. Period. That's a ridiculous notion. But during that event, immediately before, there wasn't even, like, there's so many other riots over that last year, and the media immediately began calling it insurrection. Almost, if on cue. Anderson Cooper was the one who started it. Almost as if on cue. And it's interesting they use that word. Why? Because that's the only word in federal law, in the Constitution, whatever, that can disqualify someone for being president. That's the only word, because of the 15th Amendment. So it's amazing, because I was watching it on the internet. I was watching, and I just happened to be have a CNN feed up watching it. And this was before the scuffle between the police and the rioters even got really bad. And in fact, it was interesting because the crowd was fairly peaceful up until the point where the police started throwing flashbangs into it. And then some of the police along the edge where they were, they were kind of pushing whatever, but they weren't, it was kind of like, it kind of like a lot of times it's happened where the police sometimes get a little overzealous and all of a sudden there's flashbangs put into the crowd and the police start beating people with batons. And that's when the fights with the police began. And you can watch it. I mean, there's people's private video of it. Now, the other part of this too, the original breach of that perimeter, because they did have a space reserved to take their demonstration on the Capitol grounds, but it was on the other side of the Capitol, right? And so they had barriers all the way around the Capitol where people were supposed to go around those barriers and go to that designated area where they had reserved for their rally, right? But you had this group. They had this group of people that did not watch Trump's speech that day, who just so happened to have a certain gentleman in their midst that has absolutely nothing to do with the feds, has absolutely nothing to do with anything but himself. And he just in there just happened to be the guy telling everyone to go into the Capitol the night before. And he's among those people who breached the gates that people were supposed to go around to the designated area and breached the gates that led straight to where they ended up. That was the path from the place where Donald Trump was giving his speech. That place, by the time most of the crowd that was at the speech got to the Capitol, that place was wide open. So it looked like everyone was supposed to go to that part of the Capitol. Just a coincidence, right? And that's where everyone ended up. And then it just so happened that you have, that Ray Epps guy, that was him. Remember him? That guy, you know his name. And then you just so happen to have, that Jonathan, what's his face, the little Antifa guy, was among the guys up there actually breaking the windows to get into the door. But he was the only one. No one, the rest of them were just probably Trump supporters, right? You know, it just happened to be that one Antifa guy from Washington. They've identified him. He's up in that front group. He's the one breaking in through the glass. And you had the other guy. There was another guy in there with an earplug. There's video of him breaking glass. And people are telling him to stop, and he's pushing them away. And then all of a sudden he tells him, "Oh, you broke the glass." So all these people, just this coincidence. And then the Capitol Police, you know, they were fighting the Trump supporters down on the lower level, but the people up there that were breaking the glass, where some of the Trump supporters were saying, "Hey, don't let them do that." They did nothing. Video that on video. There's plenty of video of it. So anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about January 6th. I don't really care about January 6th. I want to talk about the arraignment. So anyway, you know, and then the fact that, you know, the National Guard troops that were requested were denied, and just Nancy Pelosi and her film crew up there just already. It's just, you know, you want to say it's all a coincidence, but it's just, you know, I don't know. It's weird. Real quick. Thank you, Ty Alexander. Ty Alexander, guess what? You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you for sponsoring the show, dropping a small bullet in the tip jar, who said, "This isn't a trial, it's an inquisition. She isn't a judge. She's a heresy examiner. They aren't trying to prove his innocence or guilt. He's guilty by virtue of being a heretic. If this was possible, they would have him immolated before their woke gods." Well, I don't know if I go that far, but they, you know, definitely the whole purpose of this is so that he can't run again. And, you know, there have been people who've like let that slip as they've spoken, but I find it humorous. I hope you guys don't think the Trump supporters who caused the damage and act like fools. I don't know what that said. No, I've always said, look, Mike, the Trump supporters were fighting with police, whatever, and hitting people with flagpoles. They should have been prosecuted. Never said they shouldn't have been. But it's interesting that we've never had these types of prosecutions in the last few years when everyone else did it. When the people broke into the Senate building and occupied the Senate building, we didn't prosecute any of those people for stopping government business. When the people were attempting to break into the Supreme Court building, none of those people have ever been charged with anything. When they tried to breach the White House and 60 Secret Service agents were injured protecting the White House, they set a guard shack and a church on fire, and we still haven't had the prosecution. In fact, those prosecutions, the ones who were arrested during that particular incident, all the charges were dropped. So is it because of what they were protesting? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that attempted breach of the White House is pretty serious. But, you know, because remember, that's the comparison. Oh, Trump had to go to a bunker. Well, he's a coward. Oh, all these congressmen went to a bunker. Well, it was an insurrection. Yeah, let's balance that. But anyway, all right, let's get into something trending. Like I said, it's going to be a short show today. So Arraignment is trending on the old X, the formerly known as Twitter. Oh, wait a minute. I'm giving it the Prince moniker today. X, formerly known as Twitter, as opposed to dead naming it Twitter. Although, you know, I hope I don't go to jail for using dead name. So Arraignment's not trending, but I pulled it up just to see what's going on, and boy, oh boy, the people at MSNBC are excited. They're gonna have an arraignment special. They're gonna have an arraignment special on MSNBC. The indictment. Wait a minute, hold on. Here, I'm gonna do it with use Ty Alexander's music. Here it is. Where is it? Here it is. The indictment of Donald Trump. Arraignment special Thursday, 4 p.m. on MSNBC. Yippee. Anyway, a lot of people are what's the word for it? They're dumping on Trump, basically. Who the hell? I got to talk about this federal takeover. This is hilarious because some people are really stupid and don't understand words, or don't, automatically want to assign some really stupid position when it was just, there was a point that Donald Trump made today. We'll get to that. But, Arraignment Day here, the 147 Republicans who voted not to certify your legitimate votes, are they traitors like Trump? Oh, really? Do we want to go there? Do we really want to go there? Do you know how many Democrats, when Trump was elected, also did the same thing? How many Democrats tried to thwart democracy? Like as if it's never happened before. Sorry, screw you. Go fuck off. So anyway, apparently they are putting some security barriers around the courthouse today, and there are people already beginning to gather around Washington D.C. and whatnot. Former President Donald Trump set for arraignment on federal criminal charges for 2020 election interference, January 6th Capitol attack. Full story out of that's a Law and Crime Network. That's Dan Abrams, former Democrat operative who runs Law and Crime. Here's someone. Good morning. I'm at the U.S. Courthouse in Washington, D.C., in line to sit in the courtroom for Donald Trump's arraignment. My live coverage for the Daily Caller News Foundation will run throughout the day. Be sure to follow along. Okay, there you go. That's Ari Singh. Arjun Singh works for the Daily Caller. So anyway, other things trending this morning, though, and let's get to what I meant to start with. Hello, Brent Hayes. How you doing? Has Stacey Abrams conceded yet? I don't think so. But no one wants to compare that because, that would show, because some people still support her. So, although some people think she's a crackpot too, and the people of Georgia spoke loud and clear the second time she ran. Martin Sheen is trending today. Martin Sheen, the great actor, and basically one of his greatest accomplishments was being father to Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. But in August 3rd, 1976, Martin Sheen celebrated his 36th birthday, becoming dangerously drunk while filming Apocalypse Now. He punched a mirror, cutting his thumb. Sheen begged Coppola to keep rolling as blood poured from him. Eleanor Coppola said they were inside his personal territory with the man alone in his most private moment. All of it painfully real. So, he was drunk while they were doing the shoot, and he smashed the glass, cut his hand, and they kept shooting. Anyway, Martin Sheen's a great actor, although I couldn't stand The West Wing. I thought it was poorly written drivel. Well, it wasn't poorly written drivel. It was well written drivel. But anyway, Martin Sheen is, how old is he today? It's his birthday, I guess. Whatever. 39 plus what he did. But here's a great picture, though. This is when he was in Apocalypse Now, and this is where you could really tell how much his sons look like him, because that is Martin Sheen back in the day, looking pretty studly there. So anyway, happy birthday to Martin Sheen. Also trending, federal takeover. Now this is what I was going to talk about before, because people are so stupid, and granted, Trump is kind of the master getting people to talk about shit that's stupid that maybe they just don't understand. So here's Donald Trump put this on, what is it? Truth Social. The latest fake case brought by crooked Joe Biden and deranged Jack Smith will hopefully be moved to an impartial venue, such as the politically unbiased nearby state of West Virginia. Impossible to get a fair trial in Washington, D.C., which is over 95% anti-Trump, and for which I have called for a federal takeover in order to bring our capital back to greatness. It is now a high crime embarrassment to our nation, and indeed the world. This indictment is all about election interference. Now, people saw that thing about federal takeover. Okay? They're talking about federal takeover. And I want you to listen to some of the comments on this, because it's almost funny how stupid or how people don't understand what the hell he was saying. So this person, here you go. Article 2, Section 4 says charges of treason and conviction means there could be a federal takeover to remove and jail Joe Biden. Okay, no, that's dumb. That's stupid. This is the right here. Federal takeover is code for I'll burn the country down to stay out of prison. Is it? Does anyone know what he's talking about? Because this is not about that. On Trump's arraignment, he wants a federal takeover of D.C. No, that's not what he said. Trump tried to overturn state elections, wanted to confiscate voting machines, orchestrated fraudulent GOP electors, instigated a coup to seize power, blah, 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 blah. No, he's not asking for a federal takeover to D.C. today. Okay, he's talking about, and again, it's typical that Trump called for a federal takeover of Washington, D.C. today to protest being charged with conspiring to do that very thing. Okay. And there are people over and over and over and over making that same take. Let's read what he said again. He's talking about DC was in such shambles. In the past, he has suggested a federal takeover of Washington, D.C. as opposed to having their mayor and city council. Okay? He's not talking about right now. He called for it a long time ago. He also suggested bringing in National Guard in Washington, D.C., and Mayor What's-Her-Face didn't want it to happen when they're having so many problems in D.C. with riots and looting and whatever, and whatever, in the nation's capital. He's not calling for it right now. He's talking about, which he had called for in the past. He's not calling for it because of this arraignment. He had called for it before. Yes, he's talking about he's talking about cleaning house. He's talking about cleaning up Washington, D.C. So anyway, again, Trump, who's being arraigned today for his first federal takeover, is calling for another one again. No, that's not what he's talking about. But man, these people are just so rabidly anti-Trump, they can't even listen to what he wrote. Good morning and happy Thursday to everyone who agrees that if you are calling for a federal takeover of Washington, D.C. because you've just been indicted for trying to do the same thing, you still have not learned your lesson. He's not. No. First of all, he's not. Let's say he's calling for a federal takeover of Washington, D.C. Because of his arraignment. What good would that do him? He's in federal court. That wouldn't do him any. These people are just so caught up. So caught up. Hello, Jimmy Dassotep. They have such high Trump derangement syndrome that they took those words out of, oh my God, it's just totally out of context. It's just silly. Anyway, hello GDSOB, what's up? So let's move on. That's trending because those words, federal takeover. No, he's not calling for an insurrection. He was talking about Washington, D.C. was becoming such a just poorly run city. While he was president, he suggested maybe it might be considered a time for a federal takeover instead of letting the mayor and the city council run the city. But they never did it. But that's what he had called for a long time ago. He's talking about in the past, for which I have called for a federal takeover in order to bring the capital back to greatness, because the capital was not doing that well, at least the city part. The federal government part of the capital always does fine because, they got a lot of money. They got a lot of our money. They can make money. They can print money. They do whatever the fuck they want. But the city itself, not doing so great. It used to not be just the capital of the United States. It used to be the murder capital of the United States, but they cleaned it up a little bit. But Washington, D.C. and its politics has always been a mess. It's funny. They talk about, would you ever vote for a convicted felon? Washington, D.C. is known for voting for a convicted felon. They reelected a guy who was a coke addict and it was in jail for being a coke addict. So anyway, that federal takeover talk is just stupid. All right. The words rush is also. Oh, wait a minute. I'm confused. Does he mean federal takeover like it's already a federal district, or takeover like the coup that he attempted to lead that led to his current troubles? No. First of all, there was no attempted coup. They tried to do every legal way to try to change election. They failed, and they would probably, in some ways, they were probably wrong, and that's why they failed. And in the end, they followed the law, and there was a peaceful transfer of power on January 20th, 2021. There was no attempted coup. An attempted coup would be something forceful. They did not attempt a coup. What did those people do when they got inside the building? Did they try to take over the building? Did they try to take all the Congress critters hostages? Did they try to rewrite the Constitution? Did they try to change something? Did they try to take over the government? All those people just taking selfies and stuff? Is that how you take over the government? By taking selfies with the police officers inside the building? No, they didn't try to take over anything. All they wanted to do was protest the counting of the votes. That's all they did. Now, some of the idiots got into scuffles and hurt police officers, and a couple people got killed, but they were the protesters. The one woman got shot. The other woman got beat to death. But it was not a coup. This is embarrassing that you even try to call it a coup. Boy, all those countries that actually had coups, they are laughing at this coup, if you want to call it a coup. Holy shit. Jack Smith, stand down, relax, get a coffee, because Trump just made the case for you by calling for a federal takeover. Y'all are idiots. A federal takeover of Washington, D.C., meaning the government of Washington, D.C., wouldn't help Trump at all. Are y'all stupid? Yes, they are. Moving on. Russia's trending. Now, one of the reasons Russia's trending is because a lot of people are playing this clip where they believe Rush Limbaugh was fairly prophetic before his demise. And so we'll play this clip that everyone's playing just to show you what he was talking about. And it's playing out almost exactly as Rush Limbaugh said it. Here it is.
I know they desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly,
he's talking about the voters.
They can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again. Which I think
you must be
one
destroyed.
Of our big campaign strengths going forward. They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump.
Okay, so anyway, that a lot of people are playing that clip. The point being that they need to get Trump out of the paint. They're trying to find a way so that he can't run because they're afraid he will win again. And they're going full court press. Just like they did in 2020, they did it a different way. The media played it. They changed voting laws in all these states. And look, some of those states wasn't even unconstitutional to what they said they would do, but they did it anyway. So as far as in their own state constitutions, Pennsylvania in particular, but they did it anyway. And oh my gosh, miracle of miracles, Joe Biden got the votes he needed to overcome Trump, right? Now, I'm not even saying he did it wrong. I'm not whether you could say it, but I'm not going to say it now. But they certainly changed the rules and made it easier. I'm not going to finish that sentence. So anyway, that's why Rush is trending. A lot of people reminiscing on Rush Limbaugh. Fang Fang is trending today. Fang Fang. Everyone knows who Fang Fang is, right? Well, apparently, and one of the reasons Fang Fang is trending is because that's Eric Swalwell's squeeze right there. Fang Fang, you know, the Chinese spy that possibly Eric Swalwell could have been stupid.
China is asshole.
So the reason Fang Fang is trending is because Eric Swalwell got heckled at one of his, I don't know if it's a speaking event. Let's see. Let's hear it is. Let's listen to Eric Swalwell, who I like to sometimes call Eric Swallowswell. Anyway, Eric Swalwell, he was having, I don't know if it was a town hall or what. Listen, he gets heckled here.
Plainly about what the Dobbs decision does and what many of these states are doing with their 6-week bans. It's government-mandated pregnancies. Government-mandated pregnancies. We are against government-mandated pregnancies.
Government-mandated pregnancies? What the fuck? Well, first of all, someone in the background is saying, yelling, "Where's Fang Fang? Where's Fang Fang?" But he's saying the Dobbs decision is government-mandated pregnancies? Huh? No, it's not. No, because a government-mandated pregnancy would be that they would require you to get pregnant and have a mandate to be pregnant. Anyway, he's getting heckled here.
Overwhelmingly, Americans want women to be able to do and make these decisions for themselves. So I'm for women and their freedom, and I think that's where we're ultimately going to end up.
Well, apparently the people at his town hall like that.
Just one other comment on that. Come on. Let's be respectful.
Be respectful. Be respectful.
Please, folks.
Be respectful. Be respectful.
Deep breath, everybody.
Anyway,
please.
so anyway, that's why Fang Fang's trending. Now let's see. There was one article here in the woman calls Swalwell out at his own town hall for lying about. Let's see what this article in Twitch is. I'm almost done here. Look at Eric Swalwell's face when woman calls him out at his own town hall. It's a chef's kiss. Apparently he just looked uncomfortable. No big deal. I'll leave that out. I'll leave the article up. It'll be in the links. All right. A couple more things. Mia Khalifa is trending. Mia Khalifa. Now I got to be careful here because you never know, especially when the subject is actually a porn human being. But Mia Khalifa is being chuckled at a little bit on the internets because Mia Khalifa apparently gives marriage advice now, and so people are ripping on her for this little bit of silliness. Here's Mia Khalifa giving marriage advice. And I'd love to hear your commentary on this. So this woman apparently is a porn person who does sex things on camera and people watch it and the comfort of their own, I don't know what the hell, wherever they watch that shit. Anyway, so she's giving marriage advice. So let's hear it is. No, I don't think she made more. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, here's Mia Khalifa giving marriage advice.
Oh, we're comparing stats. Baby girl doesn't know that I am Tom Brady at this game.
Oh.
Married at 18, divorced at 21.
Married at 18, divorced at 20. Okay, great. Let's move on.
Second marriage. Married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement. Engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes.
What?
We should not be afraid to leave these men. We are not stuck with these people. Marriage is not a sanctimonious thing. It is paperwork.
Wait, okay. I'm trying to wrap my head around that one. Anyway, as opposed to never mind. The joke's too easy. I can't do it.
It's something. It's a commitment you make to someone.
Oh, okay.
But if you feel like you're not getting anything from that commitment and you're trying, you gotta go. You gotta go. You have to go.
Okay.
I know it's difficult to fill out paperwork and to make appointments and to do all of these things, but this is your fucking life. Do you want to be stuck with someone?
I just
Period.
don't-
Do you want to be
I'm-
stuck with someone? Oh, we're
Okay. Yeah, sanctimonious thing. That doesn't make sense either. So anyway, some people are laughing about Mia Khalifa giving marriage advice. Now, I've been married 30 years, so I don't understand her. I don't have that issue, but I don't know. The person has been divorced twice and broke out of engagement the third time. I don't know if I really want to listen to your marriage advice. You know what I mean? But one thing that some people are saying about it, like, for example, our friend Tree of Logic says, now, when Mia Khalifa tells men all of this, I wonder how many will think, I can save her and date her anyway. Well, there's probably a few idiots who would do that because they've watched what she is capable of on whatever they watch their stuff on. Laura Chan, hey guys, I know this is shocking, but it turns out Mia Khalifa isn't marriage material. Oh gosh, who would have thought? Who would have thought that she's not marriage material? Yeah, Mia Khalifa giving marriage advice to women. Yeah, that's special, isn't it? And there you go. So lots of people making jokes. Here's my favorite one, though. Here's my favorite meme that's come from this. Here it is. Mia Khalifa giving marriage advice.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Mia Khalifa giving marriage advice. All right, so that's pretty much my reaction to Mia Khalifa giving marriage advice. All right, let's finish up here. David Brooks is trending. Now, if you know who David Brooks is and you got an idea of what you would expect to come out of David Brooks' pen and journalism and mouth and whatever, well, here's now. Is this the one people are talking about? Okay, let's see here. This is Glenn Greenwald talking about what David Brooks said, and then I'll show you the example. He says, I spent years hearing media people talk about diversifying newsrooms. As I've said before, they never, ever mean doing anything about these remarkably skewed stats from the latest column of David Brooks, who asks why so many Americans despise and distrust the U.S. elite class. So here's what he's talking about, a lot of people talking about. Brooks says, over the last decades, we've taken over whole professions and locked everybody out. When I began my journalism career in Chicago in the 1980s, there were still some old, crusty, working-class guys in the newsroom. Now, we're not only a college-dominated profession, we're an elite college-dominated profession. Only 0.8% of all college students graduate from super elite 12 schools, Ivy League, Stanford, MIT, Duke, and University of Chicago. A 2018 study found more than 50% of the staff writers at the beloved New York Times and the Wall Street Journal attended one of the 29 most elite universities in the nation. Now, so he's kind of calling people out saying, hey, I didn't have that on the screen, did I? So basically the journalists at the most elite papers are in that little bubble of people who go to elite schools and have no idea what the rest of the world thinks or what the people in flyover land thinks. Writing a compact magazine, Michael Lynn observes that the upper middle class job market looks like a candelabra. Those who manage to squeeze through the stem of a few prestigious colleges and universities in their youth can then branch out to fill leadership positions in almost every vocation. Elite graduates monopolize the best jobs, at the same time invent new technologies that privilege super skilled workers, making the best jobs better and all the other jobs worse. Well, I don't know what that means, but the point, I guess, here that people are talking about with Brooks is wait a minute. This David Brooks piece is really worth reading. To agree that the American right is broken is not the same thing as defending the cultural, political, and social status quo. Please read with an open mind. We'll have to read the whole New York. It's a New York Times article. I'll put a link to it. But he says, "What if we're the bad guys here?" I wish I had more time. I'd go through this, but unfortunately, I don't. What I'm going to do We'll put an archive version in the links, and I might go. We might come back to this tomorrow. Yeah, it's already been archived, so there you go. And then the other thing trending today, Bill Barr is trending. Now, you never know if it's Bill Barr or Roseanne Barr, but the first two things here are giving an indication that could be one or the other. Bill Barr grows more contemptible by the day. His ignorance of the law and the Constitution is shocking. That's according to Mark Levin, referencing this Breitbart article. On Wednesday, this broadcast CNN's The Source, former Attorney General Bill Barr said that while he wasn't sure at the beginning, he now believes the 2024 Republican presidential candidate, former President Donald Trump, knew he lost the 2020 election. Now, again, that's not the idea that he might have believed that there was fraud in some states can also be true. And the fact that he lost, but did he lose in a fair manner? And that's what he was trying to fight. Bill Barr said, at first I wasn't sure, but I've come to believe that he knew well that he lost the election. Now I think it's important that the government has assumed the burden of proving that. Yeah, the government's burden to prove, it's government's burden, it's Jack Smith's burden to prove that he knew he lost and did not believe what he was saying when he said the election was stolen, or that there were shenanigans. That's their burden of proof to prove that he knew what he was saying was false. And whether or not saying something is false is against the law. That's the other part. That's the other part of it. Okay? That's the other part of it. So anyway, and I think, is that the last thing? Oh, I had one other thing. Oh, National Guard was turning. I really wanted to talk about the National Guard. Multiple tweets and articles about how Trump tried to have more National Guard protecting the Capitol on January 6th. Nancy Pelosi turning it down. But then there's a lot of other people claiming that, well, Donald Trump didn't try to get the National Guard to protect the Capitol. Let's not forget how Trump and Acting Secretary of Defense Chris Miller intentionally hamstrung the National Guard on January 4th so they wouldn't get in the way on January 6th. That's a complete and utter lie. That's amazing that someone actually tries to say that when Nancy Pelosi is the one who turned down, and Pelosi and Mitch McConnell turned down National Guard help for the Capitol Police. I'm a journalist in New York City. I was in Charlottesville in the Capitol riots. Tomorrow I'll be covering the third indictment, blah, 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 blah. Tomorrow I'll be covering my third indictment. They use this treat as fear porn. There will never be another January 6th. Only reason they pulled it off, the National Guard was denied 14 times by Chris Miller. Now that's Chris Miller. Still doubting January 6th's plan? Read the bizarrely restrictive orders of Chris Miller, Trump's acting Secretary of Defense, issued on January 4th for any National Guard deployed to the Capitol on January 6th. No helmets or protective gear. No coordination with other LEOs. Trump didn't want the National Guard in the way. That's false. They were denied by Pelosi and McConnell. Now, that restrictions were at the request of Nancy Pelosi, as far as I know. Without my subsequent authorization, the D.C. National Guard is not authorized the following: to issue weapons, ammunition, bayonets, whatever, to interact physically with protesters except necessary in self-defense or defense of others. Yeah, well, let's see. We'll go down here. Let's scroll down and see if anyone talks about the fact that, correction, the military under the control of Joe Biden gave the... Okay, that's something else. Okay, I don't see any of it here. they're also complaining about deployment of the Iowa National Guard to Texas, and the Texas National Guard trying to protect the border. So there's multiple reasons why National Guard is trending, but those are the two main ones. The committee, however, okay, let's see. So anyway, that's it for today, guys. I gotta go. I'll try to be here on time tomorrow. Hopefully I won't have as many mishaps and distractions and work issues as I did today, and I'll be here closer to 10 o'clock Eastern. But as you know, I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock, around 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central for the Morning Night Live. Hit the like button if you haven't done it so far. 29 people, but 18 likes. I'm glad a lot of you made it later into the show. Hope from those of you watching the replay, please put a comment in the comment section so I know you were here, particularly on Rumble. And I'll be back tomorrow. I may be back this afternoon. I forgot. There's a good chance I will cover the arraignment. If I do that, I'll probably go live about 2:30, 3:30 Eastern time. Apparently the arraignment's around 4 o'clock. We're going to watch some of the news coverage around that if I'm able to do that. So thank you. Thank you, Ty Alexander, Streamlabs Superstar Sponsor of the Day, and all of you in the chat on both Rumble and YouTube. Thanks for and the people who tweet out the show. I appreciate that. Let me just make sure I give you a little shout out here. That would be Resolute Germ, Tyler F, Scribe Light, and Somnambule Nation. Thank you. Oh, and Jimmy Das Hotep. So thanks everyone who did that. We'll be back later today, maybe for sure though tomorrow morning. Everyone, thanks. Have a great day. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.